Thank you, Madam Chair. The chair recognizes Ranking Member Lucas for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I want to continue down, I think, essentially the same path a number of my colleagues are going. NASA's requiring that the human landing system to launch aboard commercial launch vehicles rather than the more capable SLS. That means more launches, more on-orbit rendezvous, more on-orbit assembly, fails to leverage the investments that we've made in SLS. General Stafford, you conducted some of the first on-orbit rendezvous during the Gemini program and flew aboard Apollo 10, which conducted the dress rehearsal of Apollo 11 and chaired the advisory committee in the 1990s. So safety is an issue with you. Could you touch for a moment, if we're going to go with that smaller system for doing things, what do multiple launches and multiple on-orbit rendezvous, how does that affect safety and risk potentials of postures for the lunar landers?
Mr. Lucas, that's a very good question, and the mission I did encompassed the whole thing with one launch. And I noticed, I reviewed the material that Mr. Cook testified for this committee, I think a little over a month or so ago, and outlined it, and there's 8 launches required under the present architecture. Only one of the big ones, the rest are small ones. And the probability of success, as he outlined, and I cannot disagree with it, was only 50%. And I certainly would not want to start that. In Apollo, we had a goal of crew safety of 999 and mission success of 0.90. And if you review what we did on Apollo, we had, that was say, the first mission was just on the small Saturn Earth orbit, but on the big Saturn, we had 10 missions, and 9 of those were successful. We had Apollo 13. It was a success to bring the crew back. We hit the 3 nines on bringing the crew back, but the mission failed to make the 3rd lunar landing, so we were right there at 0.9. But with 8 launches, to me, I'll have to go with Mr. Cook. Your probability of success goes down to about 50%.
Oh, my. Mr. Young, to continue down the path of your comments and your testimony, list, of course, a number of recommendations to ensure that NASA plans move forward in a successful way. One of those recommendations is to prioritize human spaceflight activities. Could you discuss for a moment, if NASA does not get additional funding and the ISS operations are extended to 2013, I think I know the answer, but for one more time, will this delay deep space exploration?
Got the button. Absolutely. It will delay it. It will delay it significantly also. Yeah.
General Stafford, on Apollo 10, you flew closer to the moon than anyone ever before. And of course, this gave you a unique up-close perspective of the moon's geological features, the craters, the boulders. And this informed the final landing and provided scientists with important information. Will a return to the moon teach us valuable information about the moon and the Earth?
Mr. Lucas, absolutely. And in the book here we had, our charter was to give the 2 or more architectures and the technology priorities. In other words, how do we go back to the moon? And but about 4 months into the year's effort we had, it became obvious to us we have to say, why should we go back to the moon? And so that is included in this book. And what we would learn from it is really a tremendous amount of knowledge, and also and what you can do from it is unbelievable. And it takes too long to go into the details. Are all inside the book there, sir. But yes, there's reasons to go back.
One last question, General. I know it's been a day or two since you did it, but that must have been a tremendous view out the window of that lander.
Well, the lander was a unique vehicle, Mr. Lucas. It was a very flimsy vehicle, unpressurized. You could take your thumb and push hard between the frames and the skin would blow out. And then we only flew at 5 pounds per square inch pure oxygen. And when you did that, you see the rectangular hatch in front of you where you crawled out, it would bow out. It was not meant for, you know, airline type operations. It was made out of very thin material, and it worked one time, but it did the job, and it did the job real well. We had 6 successful landings. We brought back 842 pounds of rock and material from the moon, and from that we have certainly learned a lot.
Thank you, General. Yield back the balance of my time.
Thank you, Ranking Member Lucas. The chair recognizes Mr. Perlmutter for 5 minutes. And he's going to pull out his, yep, there it is. There's the bumper sticker. I knew it was coming.
Gentlemen, thank you for your testimony today. I kind of feel intimidated by the two of you being here.